Okay, welcome to briefing this morning. It is August 27th. Karen went home yesterday, so you're stuck with me for about a day and a half. So we'll start today. My name's Vernon Eli, Planning Section Chief. We have the objectives, covered them yesterday, but we had some people check in, so we're going to cover them again today. Provide for the safety of firefighters, responders, and general public by identifying and mitigating hazards through accepted practices and operating guidelines. Protect the life and property by prepositioning resources and utilizing local resources in direct attack through safe firefighting tactics, keeping losses of property as minimal as possible. Assure that the strategy and tactics are based on current and predicted weather, fire behavior, and any hazards are clearly communicated throughout the incident. Establish unified command with the local, state, private, and federal cooperators whenever possible, and conduct all operations in a safe, cost-effective manner while promoting mutual respect in an atmosphere free of discriminating or harassing remarks and behavior. With that, that's why we're here. Now we're going to let Tom Bird give us the weather.
Good morning, Tom Bird, Incident Meteorologist. We start out, as we usually do, with this morning's satellite look. And this is a loop of the satellite this morning. And you'll notice our high pressure has shifted way off to the east now. And you can see there's some storm activity down in the Gulf. And we've got the debris clouds from last night's storms streaming across West Texas. You'll notice this large area of cloud-free portions of the southeast part of the United States, and that's thanks to that high pressure ridge extending back to the west over Texas. And again, like we've seen the last few days, we do have some low clouds in the south central portion of the state with that Gulf flow bringing that real moist air. Here's the current radar look. We haven't really been seeing a lot in the mornings, but with that increased Gulf flow, we're starting to see some showers off the Gulf like I showed you on the last satellite picture, and we are streaming some really weak isolated light rain showers into portions of the upper Texas coast and East Texas this morning. This is a look at the last 24 hours worth of precipitation across the state. We had those showers and a few thunderstorms coming in to the south central branch and parts of the eastern branch. And then of course we also, as we have been having, had those monsoonal thunderstorm activity out west, mostly in the west branch. This is a look at precipitation going back 7 days. So this is accumulated rainfall for the past 7 days. And this is the picture I showed you yesterday. So this is not the current picture. I do have the current picture I'm fixing to show you, but I want to show you this for comparison's sake. So this is what I showed you yesterday, and here is the new look at 7-day precipitation. You can see a lot of that precipitation fell off. A lot of the rain that we had over the state was 7 days ago, and we added a new dry day yesterday, and so that knocked a lot of that precipitation out. So you can see we're just getting drier by the day. This is a look at 7-day percent of normal precipitation across the state. You see a lot of red there, and that's indicative of just the fact that we just haven't had a lot of rain, especially south and east, and now it's starting to creep back up towards the north and west where we did get that good precipitation a week ago. Here are our highlights for today. As I showed you already, that high has shifted well off to the east, but we still have that ridge over us, so that will help to keep a good portion of the state dry. However, we do have better rain chances now in the southeast portion of the state and over the upper Texas coast today. As you can already see, they're in progress. A weak disturbance will come in later this afternoon into the Panhandle area and give that area a better chance of storms today than it had yesterday. Then the monsoonal moisture continues over far west, so we'll keep some storms there. Still hot, still dry, and still somewhat breezy across the state. And looking ahead, we don't see any really big changes in the pattern to bring us a significant rainfall for the next 7 days. So here's what our pattern does look like for today. High pressure well off to the southeastern United States. That's helping to bring in that increased Gulf moisture for the southeastern portion of the state. And then we do have that little disturbance that's going to come across later in the day and overnight and help to bring some more storms to the west. Otherwise, the central portion of the state is kind of underneath that ridge and continuing to stay dry. Here's our temperatures for this afternoon. Our highs, you can see a lot of hundreds. along that I-35 corridor and down into South Texas. So another hot day across the state. East of that line is where we have those high heat indices. There's your look at minimum relative humidity this afternoon. Those lines of 30 and 40 are creeping to the west as we get that increased Gulf moisture. The RHs aren't dropping quite as low in the afternoons, but still pretty dry out west. But a little bit better RH as you move east to I-35 than we've seen the last several days. Here's a look at the winds here on the right-hand side. Not a lot of change from what we've been seeing. Continue with that deep southerly flow off the Gulf. Probably about 5 to 10 miles an hour east, 10 to 15 west. There's some fair amount of gust as you move out west, especially as you get to the northern portion with that little disturbance coming in. We will have some stronger gusts to the north, 20 to 25 miles an hour. There's a look at where we think the rain and the storms will be this afternoon, as we've been mentioning, along the Gulf coast and then up in the west. And here's a model look at where the storms look like they will be this afternoon. And then we'll follow that with the precipitation forecast for today, going from 7 o'clock this morning to 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And if you look at the amounts, they're all probably about a ½ inch and less, so not a lot of widespread significant rainfall with what we will see today. And one last slide here. This is a look 7 days out. This is what the models think we'll see as far as rainfall across the state, going all the way through the first day of September. So through the rest of this week, you can see a large portion of the state stays dry. And with that, we'll follow up with operations.
Morning, everyone. Rich Gray, Operations. Yesterday was somewhat of a busy day. East Zone had 5 new starts. All of those are contained. South Branch had 1 new start late last night. And Uvalde County is 30 acres, 100% contained. Task Force 42 IA'd that, and they'll be back out on the fire again today. Central Branch wrapped up both of their fires from yesterday, 100% contained, and those will be were turned back over to locals and staffed by locals today. A couple things on the IAP. You'll see a new staging area open up in Victoria. We'll have Task Force 43, and they should be in place and in service by noon today. Everyone else has seen the forecast, so again, just maintain that vigilance and readiness for IA. A couple other things as we have resources coming in. Some of our TFS resources are going direct to the staging areas. You need to make sure you get a check-in sheet for your resource, both individual and equipment, and get that in IMT plans and IMT operations. Also, as you guys check out, go through demo, make sure you're closing out with your home unit once you get back home, whether that's interagency folks, and in particular our TFS folks, make sure you're checking out with TIC so they know that you made it home safe. That's all I've got for today. Thanks. Y'all have a great day.
Good morning, John McGee, Safety. Safety had a good weekend. I am not aware of any accidents, injuries, so kudos, commendations to everyone. We're not even having any minor accidents or injuries, which if you can remember a few weeks ago, we were having minor backing accidents, fender benders, seemed like almost every day. Well, obviously a lot of that stuff is gone. A lot of people and stuff are gone. So we're doing well. We have a good safety record. Nevertheless, it isn't over yet. We're going to have to stay focused. Keep yourself dialed up. You heard the weather. While it continues to be hot and dry, what does that mean? You got to keep an eye on each other. Keep an eye out for those symptoms for heat-related injuries. I've been reading a lot about some of the accidents, injuries, fatalities that have been happening nationwide, and there's a lot of them. Of course, the West Coast is pretty active. They involve dozers rolling over, water tenders and engines rolling over, pickup trucks hitting trees and on the highway hitting each other, snags, chainsaws, all the things we use here in Texas. Just because they're happening out west doesn't necessarily mean they don't relate to us. It's the same way we continue to kill and injure each other. So, my point is, we have all that stuff here. You're going to have to stay focused while we're going through this period, waiting to see what happens with the weather, okay? Keep an eye on each other, and we'll all be back again tomorrow.
All right, good morning. Don Galloway, IC. As plans mentioned, today's 2/27 of the fire season. We started out much earlier this year up in the Panhandle. A lot of big fire activity there, West Texas. We worked our way across the Northwest branch, the North branch, and most of the state. We've had activity in East Texas, continue to. We're working our way now down into the central and southern part of the state. We've moved all through the year to where the problem is. And I can assure you right now, there's a whole bunch of this state that still crunches when you walk on it. We've got a lot of drought out there. We're still having fires. We are still going to continue to have fires. We need to be ready for that. You look at the positioning, our resources and stuff out there, things are getting harder to come by. So we're going to be doing some prioritizing and planning and looking at where we position stuff and where's the best place to have it. But we need to make sure that whatever we have is ready to go. One of our tenets is that public's more forgiving at the start of a fire season on response times and things like that than they're going to be when you're in the middle of one. Just the expectation is there. When something's new, they go, oh, I did not see that coming. But we spent the last 220 plus days telling them what's out there. So we've got to be prepared for it. We don't want to get to the end of the day and go, well, the first 226 went okay. It's a shame about that 227th one. All right. So make sure everything's ready. Make sure we're good to go, because I can guarantee you we will be continuing to have fires, and we're going to continue to be calling on people to go to them. So good morning, and thank y'all.
Okay, you can turn your phones, radios, whatever electronic items you have back on, and the thought for the day is if you're going to bring calm to the situation, you need to remain calm yourself. Have a good day.